Okay, so what we're going to do now here, we're just going to look at slope. Now, the slope is just, like, the other word for the slope is your gradient. And the slope is just like talking about the steepness. So if we have something that looks like this, that's not really steep. That one's going at about an angle of 45 degrees. And then you could have something that is really steep like this. So let's just say this was 2 centimetres and 8 centimetres. To get the slope here, what we actually do is we compare how far up it goes, like which is called the run, to how far across it goes. And what we're really doing there, like if we look at that, that would be 2/8. We call this the rise and the run, and the rise on the run is 1/4. So what that really means, that if I go 4 across, then I go 1 up. And then if I go, even if I go 8 across, I go 2 up. Like it's always in the same ratio. That's why they're using these ratios here. Okay, so that ratio there is 1/4, but as a fraction, it's 1/4. So if we're looking at this one, so that was 6 centimetres to 6 centimetres, then basically the rise on the run here would be 6 on 6, which is 1, okay? And it's 1 because every 1 you go across, you're going 1 up. Every 1, 1 up. Every 1, you go 1 up. And it wouldn't matter where you draw the triangle. And if you draw 2 across, it'd be 2 up, because it always will simplify as a fraction to 1. If you write it as a ratio, it's actually 1/1. If we have, let's say that was 2 centimetres and 10 centimetres, then the gradient for that would be the rise on the run. So the rise is the 10 and the run is the x. 10 on 2 is 5. You always think that rise rhymes with y's, and the y's are what goes up. So the rise rhymes with the y's. Okay, so it's always rise on run, y's on the x's. Okay, so if you have something as a gradient, say you have 1/1, you had it in ratio form, that's 1 on 1. So that means this is the rise and this is the run. So the first one is the rise, the second one is the run. So here's the run, here's the rise and the run. So this is 1, and this is 1, 2, 3, 4. That's equal to 4. So this here would be 4/1, because the ratio is the rise to the run. Okay, I hope that makes that clear. So the ratio form, it would be rise to run. As a fraction, it is rise on run. So if you're looking at, say, this one here, and you drew your triangle, that would be 1, 2, 3, 4. This would be 2. So that would be 4/2, which simplifies to 2/1, or 4 on 2, which is 2. That is also your gradient. And let's just look at this one here. We can do a little triangle. That would be 1/1, or you could go here and you go 5/5. So the gradient here is 5 on 5, 1 on 1, or 1/1. So that matches with that one. Okay, so what we want to do here is we want to, the number of units up and the number is right across. So in the same way, between any 2 points on a straight line, by copying and completing the table given the points plotted on the graph below. Okay, so if you look at the graph, we'll just look at, say, let's go A and C. Okay, so if we did this, that's 2, because there's, 3, sorry, 1, 2, no, it's not, it's going to be 2.5. It's about 2.5, isn't it? And then this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, these are actually all going to have the same slope if you look at this. So even if you went here and here, so that's 5. So if you did 2.5 is the rise to 5, then that would be 1/2. So A and C, that would be 2.5 up to 5, and that would be 1/2. Simplified ratio is 1/2. Okay, so if you look at another one, so we look at B and C. See, that's a half and that's 1. So that's a half to 1, a half to 1. So a half dot dot 1 is the same as, if you multiply both sides of that ratio by 2, 2 times a half is 1, 2 times 2 is 2. So that would be 1 to 2. Okay. So if you look at these, you basically, let's just look at A and B. So A and B, that's 2 and 1, 2, 3, 4. So that'll be 2 to 4, 2 to 4, and then it simplifies to 1. So you're basically, what you're doing here is just drawing the triangles and you're getting the ratios. So finally, this one here, if we have a ratio of 2 up and 1 down, we want to do an example of that, would be 2 units up and 1 across. That would be the slope of that would be your line, because that's the gradient. If you went a half up, we could do one there, a half up, 1 across, that's what it would look like. Your line would look like that. If we went 1 down, so 1 down and 1 to the right. So 1 down and 1, this is like 1 on 1. Oh, this doesn't make sense. So you go 1 unit to the right and 1 unit down. Okay, so I don't think that's very confusing how they've done that. So I would say maybe what they mean is 1 down, 1 to the right. So it's actually going to be a negative gradient. Because when you're going down, it would be negative, and when you're going up, it's going to be positive. I think when you do these two, if you do your so that's down. Like when you do these and you got your ratio, right? That's what you go up or down, and this is what you come across. Okay, so if you do your across first, so let's just say you have 2 up, 1 to the right. Go 1 to the right first, and then go 2 up. Okay, so the ratio of 2 to 1. Do this one first. So don't go across, and then you go up or down.